Hi, hello, Gene. This is Fred from Metal Ops. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am very fine. Very happy to talk to you because we like very much. We just discover you, your band, and we like very much your music. We are going to talk about your first album,
Awesome.
first
Thank you.
studio album on Relapse Records. It's called the band is Primal Code, and yes, we are going to talk about the album. But first, could you introduce yourself in the band because you are there are three guys in the band.
Yeah, there's three of us. My name's Gene. I play guitar and sing.
Okay,
And then we have a bass player named Will and a drummer named James.
okay. Yes, we are going to speak about that. A threesome band. It's there is in general it's very special a threesome band. In rock, in metal, to be three, only three, on studio and live. Why? How was born the band? You are friends. You put an an ad like
No, we
Metallica.
were all close friends that were in other bands,
Indian.
um, different styles of music. And I
Yeah.
think the other bands weren't exactly scratching the itch or checking all the boxes that we all wanted artistically.
Okay.
Will plays in a doom band called Indian.
Indian. Yeah.
It
Okay.
was also on Relapse, and our drummer plays in a punk band called Home Invasion, and I play in another hardcore band called The Killer. Um,
Okay.
but
Okay.
we were kind of all talking about different stuff, or we'd be together hanging out, listening to like your shirt, Entombed, or Skinless, or Bolt Thrower, bands like
Yes.
that. Benediction. I was like, man, I want to be doing this kind of like not because other bands you do like parts of that and
Okay.
then you have parts of hardcore punk or whatever. I was like, what if we just did this
Okay.
mid-paced bolt thrower death metal 90s kind of thing? And
Okay.
it started from that with the three of us, and we never planned on being a power trio, just three of us. And then when I kind of figured out I could sing or whatever, we just kind of ran with it. And now it's so much easier to function with just the three of us. And it's
Hi.
kind of a point of pride to try to make it as heavy as we can live with just three of us. Like it's kind of more fun. It's tighter. We quite enjoy it.
Okay. And when exactly started the band? During the pandemic? Officially?
No, it was after, I guess it was 2021 or 22. We started jamming together
Okay. Okay.
slowly, like writing songs and stuff like that. And then we put a demo out, I want to say in 2021 or 2022.
Okay. Yes,
And
you
then
sent
after
the
that,
demo. You sent the demo to the label and Relapse or other label.
no, they just found it. We did the demo, and then the next year we did a self-released EP called Subliminal Master.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we did
Last
a
year.
split with a thrash band in Chicago called The Gavel. It was just two songs that we did.
Okay.
And we had some mutual friends that kind of worked through the label or knew people that worked at the label, and
Okay.
they heard it, and we just got a message completely out of the blue. Quite shocking, really. We would
Yeah.
never
It was.
expected that in a thousand years.
It seems easy to
Yeah.
create a band and to launch our band and to find the guys and to find the record deal finally with Relapse Record.
Yeah, it worked out very good. I mean, I couldn't think of anywhere else we would want to land besides
Yeah.
Relapse. So it's just shocking and quite honestly the best thing that could have happened to us.
Okay. Okay. So well, yeah. So musically in your background, if I'm right, so if I understand well, I just discover what you say. You come more from hardcore scene, maybe in Chicago. Or
Yeah, I think we were always, I mean, I grew up playing guitar to Cannibal Corpse and Slayer and Iron
okay.
Maiden stuff. So that was always what I was into, but it was easier. My friends were all in hardcore bands, and
Okay.
you run
Okay.
around in that scene long enough, that's just who you know. And
Okay.
then you get older, and you're like, man, I kind of want to do other stuff, but hard to find people that are into the same bands that you are or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I met our bass player doing, we do vintage Harley Davidson motorcycles. So wrenching and riding motorcycles and stuff and kind of talking and connected over bands he was in. And we're like, hey, what if we did a band and then we could just do it like the bands that we like instead of fractions of those bands.
Okay.
And I knew our drummer through the hardcore scene too, but he was a closet metalhead as well.
Okay. I don't know a lot of hardcore metal bands from Chicago, more from Detroit or New York, but hardcore scene from New York, Madball, Biohazard, etc. Life of Agony, etc. But from Chicago, I don't know a lot of a lot of hardcore or metal bands. Personally.
Yeah, there's a handful of big hardcore band from our areas. Harm's Way.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
very good. They're from Chicago.
Exact.
There's a metal
Yeah.
band called Molder that we're gonna do a record release with. They're like a thrash death band.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
an awesome kind of lesser known three-piece called Cyanide from Chicago that's absolutely stunning. Jungle Rots from Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
There's quite a few.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. Alors, so let's speak. Yeah. Let's speak about your first album. It's called Opaque. Or je sais pas, I don't know what how we say Opaque Fixation.
Yeah, Opaque Fixation.
Opaque Fixation. And there is a cover artwork, very not horrific, but of very very strange, very dark, but a bit bloody. What and the atmosphere of the album when you listen to it, it's very catchy, powerful, but very cold, very fierce, very heavy.
Yeah.
And so we can
Thank
feel
you.
anger and a mood very yeah to go to a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I want you to feel a certain way when you listen to it. That's the goal, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You nailed it.
somebody reviewed it or put something on the internet and said it sounds like you're trapped inside of a bulldozer, and I quite enjoyed that
Oh,
simile
I
myself.
I I don't understand all, but can you repeat?
That's
What?
how they said that the record sounds like you're trapped inside of a bulldozer, like a big
Yeah.
construction vehicle.
Okay. Yeah. 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 And in my mind, it reminds me Bolsover stuff about war, about tank, about attack, etc.
Yeah.
And Bolsover, I think it's an inspiration. You tell it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
majorly. I mean, we try to not sound too much like them. We try to sound like our own thing.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so we lean into a lot of that dystopian wasteland, end of the world future stuff. A little
yeah,
less about the war stuff that Bolt Thrower did so well.
yeah.
Uh, and thankfully, we have a lot of other inspiration too that'll get us to slow down and sound like Obituary or
Ah,
Animal
yeah,
Slayer
yeah,
or whatever. A lot of
yeah,
mid 90s death metal.
yeah. And 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 that is very interesting to interview you because I feel also a hardcore punk hardcore attitude in the video shot, threesome, tattoos, casket, etc. A hardcore attitude. And if you didn't say to me that you like hardcore or you play in hardcore band in the band and you like hardcore, uh, I feel that crossover in the attitude in the and yeah in the you three in the video and the hardcore, but you play death metal, raw death
Yeah.
metal, in finally. So yeah, I was total. I think I was right before to interview you because I feel this attitude. I never see live, so you live. So live, maybe you have the more hardcore attitude. Very, you move a lot. Maybe no.
No, I think we're pretty strictly death metal live. I mean, it's a chore to sing and play guitar, so I'm pretty planted where I'm
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
And our drummer is quite
Oh,
a spectacle the way he plays drums, so he's busy doing that.
yeah. Oh, he's
Uh,
awesome. He's
yeah,
awesome.
he is. He's really something. Live, he's worth your time live, even if you're not that into the band. It's worth it to watch him play drums.
Okay. How many hours he rehearse and how many hours your drummer go to the basic sport hall to make a gym and bodybuilding?
He's doing that all the time. If he's not at work, he's doing that all the time. He's lifting weights or playing drums.
Okay.
That's what he does.
Okay. Okay. You play guitar, so and you have
Yeah.
to focus on guitars and vocals. You play you already made live shows, live gigs in Chicago or in
Yeah,
America?
we've been playing
A bit.
shows on and off for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
mostly just in Chicago.
Okay. Okay. In
And then we
club or festival.
yeah, there's a handful of small clubs in Chicago that we play quite often.
Oh. Okay.
Namely Reggie's or the Cobra Lounge. Uh, we were doing that as regularly as we could every handful of months. And then once we got the Relapse deal, we kind of slowed down to finish writing songs and get ready to record and then record. And then we kind of haven't played out too many since because we're waiting for the record to come out. So we're playing in December with Molder for a double record release. Should be a great show. But otherwise, we have nothing planned yet.
Okay. And we can see
Oh
different
yeah,
guitars.
there's a whole bunch
Uh,
back there.
Les Paul, Flying Five, or
Oh yeah,
Kelly
yeah. I've been
guitars.
at Jackson Kelly for about 20 years.
Yeah, you play on Jackson or Ibanez, no? Uh,
I actually play now primarily in the band. I mostly have Jacksons and a couple of Les Pauls back there. There's an ESP, but
okay.
for the band, I primarily play a brand called Monson. It's a guy out of the Pacific Northwest that makes them by hand. He sponsors both the bass player and I.
Okay. Yeah, you have a
Um,
black guitar on the video clip of an Abside.
yeah. It's kind of a pointy looking shape. It's kind of like the Jackson Kelly, but it's a custom deal by this guy Brent
Oh,
Monson.
I believe it was Ibanez. Ibanez. Okay, okay. But it's not Ibanez. Okay. And you play on stick string guitar
Yeah, we tuned
only?
down to B, but it is a 6 string guitar.
Ah, you are tuning B in B.
Yeah, B
Okay.
standard.
Okay. Okay. Very, yeah, very down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you recorded the album Opaque Fixation in Chicago in a studio called Bricktop Studio.
Yep.
Can you tell me more? It's your home studio or friends or the.
We knew it through friends years and years ago of ours that we kind of grew up with that went to school for audio engineering and all that, and they opened the studio themselves. I
Okay.
actually hadn't been there to record kind of ever, but other bands we knew had, and they just kept turning out great hardcore metal, whatever records out of there. So when
Okay.
this came about, I was like, well, why would we leave here when this place puts out great stuff? We know the guys personally, but I hadn't really been in the studio like that outside of demo type stuff when they first started, literally 20 years ago. It's a pretty wild deal. It's on Chicago's South Side, and it's in a giant warehouse that used to make butcher blocks, big giant wood butcher blocks, and they've
Okay.
consolidated the warehouse. There's this big giant recording studio with a huge live room and like two other quiet rooms and two different control rooms. It's quite a sight. We were really impressed with how great it was to work there and how expedited the whole process was.
The sound is very yeah, very clean, very powerful, very low, very heavy, but very, yeah, clean in the sound. That's it's very, yeah, we can hear the bass, the drum very good. Your vocal, yeah, the mix is very, the production is very good for
Yeah,
first album.
we're very happy with it. I think it helps that we're pretty we keep a lot of our riffs and music stylings are pretty simple. So we're
Okay,
not getting too technical. So when I went to Bricktop, Pete Grossman's the audio engineer, just said, I need this to be as heavy as possible, but I don't want it to just sound like a broken subwoofer. Like it can't sound muddy. I want to be able to hear what I'm doing a little bit, but I don't want to hear too much because I don't want it to be that super mid-range buzzsaw type of deal. And he just took it and ran with it, and it sounds awesome.
okay. And who mixed it? Who mixed it?
It was mixed by Audio Siege, Brad Boatwright.
Okay, I
He's
don't.
on the East Coast, I believe.
Oh,
He just did I believe the new Obituary record and the new
yeah.
Hi-Fi record.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alors, could you tell me more about the name of the? Alors, yeah, a lot of things, but the name of the album, Opaque Fixation. Why did you choose that? Because the artwork, I think it's in relation with the artwork, with eyes of beast. Could you explain? Maybe is there a concept and what does it mean? Could you describe it
I can a little bit.
a little bit?
I like to keep it vague because then that way you interpret it your own way and it's very personal to you. If I
Okay.
tell everybody what it is, then it's just my song you're listening to versus now it's kind of yours and his and theirs. Um, we kind of leaned right into that really dystopian future type thing
Yeah.
in a more realistic manner than maybe some other death metal bands. Like we're not going to sing about zombies and monsters, and there's already bands that do that way better than we
Yeah.
do. There already
Yeah.
is a Cannibal Corpse. There already is a Dying Fetus. And I don't think we're quite smart enough to write anything too theatrical.
Yeah.
So we just try to take very base, primal, if you will, fears and stuff like that, and kind of run with those things. So a lot about, like I said, dystopia future, like the frailty of the human race. Like you really take away like a lot of
Okay.
our inventions or like technology and Wi-Fi and electricity. You take those away, like people are pretty useless creatures without like thumbs and like
Ah,
our prefrontal cortex and things that have higher thinking. Like we're pretty useless without our inventions and trinkets. You know what I mean? Like in the animal kingdom, we're just soft, pink, We don't
Okay,
have fangs. We can't keep ourselves warm. We're not fast. We don't swim really.
okay,
That kind of thing. We kind of ran with that theme for the record.
okay. It's not there is no political representation like
No, no,
Democrats
no.
and politic Democrats and Republicans. It's not.
Absolutely not. No, I think
It's
if
not.
we were smart enough to have an opinion on that, we wouldn't be in a death metal band.
Yeah, sometimes people say, oh, metal has to know to be no politics. And politics in the life, so it's difficult to put totally
Yeah.
the politics.
Uh,
Look at Napalm Death or Sepultura, they speak about the
Absolutely. And I
politics.
think the bands that do that do a good job of that. And it's important that bands do that. I
Yeah,
just think that in a broad spectrum, art is supposed to be for everyone, right? You know, whoever, whatever you believe in or do or don't or not, and whatever. And I feel like very, very generally speaking, like humans are pretty good at being awful to each other about whatever we can figure out to be awful to each other about. So
yeah,
I don't really want to exclude anyone from what we're doing based on something that I don't agree
yeah,
with or vice versa. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I just think it's easier to just we're a heavy band and this is what it's about and that's it.
Okay, but if you come from hardcore scene, you could be a voice to say to talk about social problems and in society in
Yeah,
general.
that's why I don't
Of
sing in a hardcore band.
yeah,
I
yeah, okay,
sing
yeah,
in a death
that's
metal
right.
band and I don't
Yeah,
say a single
yeah.
word live. I don't say nothing besides singing.
Okay, 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 okay. Could you tell me more about the song Anapside?
Sure.
Why did you choose this single? Of course, it's very it's very straight, very efficient, no
Yeah.
problem. And that's why I discover you by that. There is a new single now, if I'm right.
Yeah.
The second
The
single.
second single came out last week. It's called Derelict.
Yeah. So could you tell me more about why this choice with the label? Is it you? And what could you tell me more about this song?
Sure. It was a little bit of both. This consecutive singles we were kind of in the air about, but we from the get-go wanted to use that song Anapsid as the first one to release. It just kind of worked out. It was like the first song we wrote for the record. It was like it's just far and beyond the other ones as far as like coming in really hot and unrelenting and like no bullshit, just very to the point. So
Okay.
we just felt that was like, okay, this song is extremely to the point with no extra parts and
Okay.
gives you a pretty good picture of what we do as a band.
Yeah.
So we figured like if you like this, if this catches you, you'll probably dig what we're doing. If it doesn't, you're probably not going to like anything we do.
Yeah.
So that we kind of went with it like that. And when we asked Relapse, when they said, "What do you think?" we kind of was like, "Well, I don't know. What do you think?" Because they're steering the ship a little bit. And then when they picked that one too, we were like, "Oh, awesome, fuck yeah!" So that was how that went. And then the other ones they kind of picked, which was kind of similar to our choices. The one that's out now, Derelict, is probably my favorite song to
I, yeah. Yeah.
my favorite song lyrically and my favorite song to play. But I do quite like Anapsid quite a bit.
Okay. And this huge influence of Bolsower, you totally assume it. For you, it's okay. For you, yeah, it's you tell it, you told it. For you, it's okay. It's not. It's one of your influence. Of course, you make your own thing now with this mix of yes, hardcore attitude, but death metal rules. But yeah, for you, it's okay. If people say the critics say, "Oh, you are a copy of a ball thrower," for you it's good, or you are going to
Uh,
maybe to
I mean, that's not the worst thing somebody could say about you, right? I think it'd be pretty good to be compared to Bolt Thrower like that. But I think our interpretation of that band has definitely taken its own wavelength
okay,
away from,
yeah, yeah,
or I think there's quite a strong similarity, but I think a lot of the things we're doing are very differently
yeah,
than what they're doing, especially when we slow down a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but again, I'm totally fine if somebody wants to say we're a bolt thrower clone. Like, okay, great, that
Okay,
sounds awesome. Bolt thrower fucking rules. Uh, but we try to put in like some Entomb stuff,
yeah, yeah,
a lot of obituary, some Cannibal Corpse, Dying
yeah,
Fetus, Napalm Death,
yeah.
Skinless, Benediction, like
Skinless of
all those bands.
Misery Index, maybe Misery
Yeah,
Index.
oh yeah. There's a couple people caught that, and that surprised me. I actually really like
Uh,
that one. People have
but
said Misery Index vocalist.
But you just release an EP, a demo, an EP, and a first album. So of course, everybody, when you start, you have your own influences, and after you are going to develop in the future. I hope for you to develop your style.
Yeah, I think this record has definitely found our lane, for the lack of a better term. Like this is definitely where we are. And I personally don't think it's too similar to any other band. It might be a lot of parts of other bands, but I mean, isn't that what music is? You know, a different amalgamation of whatever you're into.
And do you like what Carl Willets? I know personally Carl Willets. Do you like, and Scott Fairfax? Do you like what he does now with Memoriam? It's more melodic.
Oh, I absolutely love it.
It's more melodic.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the drummers too, isn't it? One of the earlier drummers from both.
It changed. The drummer changed.
Yeah. Okay.
There were on the Wells something. The former drummer died, of course, Kenny. But Andrew Well, something like that, he was another drummer.
Yeah, I thought somebody else did. No,
he was in Memoriam, but he left in Memoriam. He go to Sacrilege.
Somebody just asked in another interview about that. I was like, there's another band called Memoriam that is the singer from Bolthor that's phenomenal. They were like, wait, there is? I'm like, yeah, you need to look it up. It's awesome. No, I love it. Big fan.
Okay, to conclude quickly, I like very much the two last songs. Angler and Stuck, and there are screams like a bit black metal, and and hardcore screams also in Stuck. Maybe is it an evolution to perspective to the next album? Maybe these two songs are a bit different vocally.
I think so. I think those are the really black metal shrill ones are our bass player, Will, who was Canadian. He was also in Wolves in the Throne Room for some time. On another band called Midian. He does those really well, and when we were doing it in the studio, it kind of came out. I think it adds quite a lot of depth to us without making us like a complicated band, if that makes sense. So I quite enjoy adding those things vocally to thicken everything up and make it more interesting, or put forth a different feeling that we're trying to pervade rather than what I'm just doing. More of the hardcore screams is our drummer. He does those really well too. But yeah, I would like to keep adding more and more what they're doing. The problem is we do try to keep in mind what we can and can't do live. And so we do. Will do his stuff live, but I refuse to play in a band with a drummer with a headset mic. That's not allowed. No microphone to the drummer.
Okay. And can we hope to see you live in France, in Europe next year or soon?
We would absolutely love to. We need to get a booking agent and all that. But if anybody's listening and would like us there, we would absolutely love to come.
Festivals,
we would love to travel and go all over the place. And it looks like the record's doing quite well that side of the world anyway. So that would probably be where we go ideally.
Okay, but we are going to follow you. I thank you very much. We are going to follow what we are going to do. And if you come into France to play in France festivals, Motoculture, Hellfest festivals, we are waiting for you, guys. We are ready.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye, and have a good day in Chicago. Bye.
Later.
Ciao. Thank you.